Hi, my name is Steven and welcome back to my channel. And today I'm going to be talking to you about 2023 end of year review, what I learned this year. As this year draws to a close, I find myself reflecting on the past year and the lessons that I've learned. This exercise helped me to understand where the gaps are between where my goals were this year and what I actually accomplished. Because the goals that I had originally set out didn't come to fruition this year. The journey this year was nonetheless rich in my personal growth and development journey. Because at the start of 2023, I had ambitious goals for what I was going to accomplish. But I soon realized that life had other plans for me and that I couldn't accomplish most of what I set out to do. This is because I ultimately underestimated the time it takes to have a new child in my life, and just how much time and effort parenting demands from us. While I wouldn't trade this responsibility for anything else in this world, it took its toll on my time and efforts in everything else. And it ultimately forced to prioritize and focus on what I spend my time on. Another aspect of this was I struggled to find time to de-stress and relax. And it also helped trying to maintain a work-life balance with a newborn. So as I approach 2024, it's essential to learn the lessons of the past year and apply them to the next year. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about my background, the lessons I learned in 2023, and my general thoughts. Before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, share with friends, hit that notification bell if you like this content. And here we go. 2023 has been a year of challenges and ultimately a lot of growth. And it's mainly because of the unexpected complexities of being a parent. And also with the challenging work environment, it's made my life a lot more stressful. And I'm overall doing less self-care activities to help me push through the difficult times. By realizing that it's the end of the year and looking back on my experiences, hopefully I can learn something to take into next year, so that I'm more equipped with the lessons that I learned to make changes that will ultimately improve my life. Because I definitely want 2024 to be a better experience than 2023 has. Nobody can prepare you with a life with a newborn child. And even though I knew it was going to be a lot of time and effort, I didn't realize how much until I actually got into the thick of it. For me, it was whatever time I thought I needed and multiplied it by 2. This is one of the main reasons why 2023 wasn't as productive as I thought it would be for me. And this definitely impacted the things I would normally do throughout the year to get some rest and relaxation and focus on self-care. Nowadays, I'm adapting so much to my new family member and what that entails for us. In addition, I learned a lot about myself in creating boundaries to separate my work and life, and ultimately to protect my mental health and slow down when I needed it. This has helped me to protect my time and be more aware of the energy that I'm focusing on different things. And lastly, because of the lack of time, it disrupted my travel and spending time with friends. Even though things have opened up after the pandemic, I still wasn't able to spend as much time as I wanted to on those activities. But hopefully these are some of the things that I can look forward to more of in 2024. So here are some of the things I learned in 2023. Number 1, life is hard with a family. This was by far the hardest thing that I had to adjust to in 2023, was life with a new family member. I just didn't realize how much of a time impact he would ultimately take on our lives. As much as I want to spend my time with my son, it came at a cost of everything else. And my relationship with others and my self-care took a hit because of it. And we also weren't efficient with our time because we had to figure out things for the first time with our son. It took a lot of time for us to get into a standard rhythm or cadence with him. This means that we took a lot of time to figure out how to de-stress and find time for ourselves. Now that I'm going through this experience, I have a much better appreciation for people with multiple kids. It's very hard to keep any sorts of schedule or have time for yourself. It really leads you to think about family first rather than yourself. Although having kids is a blessing, it is really important to think about how much your life can change with a child. Because you do lose a lot of personal autonomy once you have that kid and your time is dedicated to your family. So I learned that life is really hard with a child, at least in the beginning. And that time impact isn't really obvious if you never had a child before. Number 2, boundaries are important. Because of all the demands on my time this year, I had to be really firm with my boundaries and communicating that to others. I needed to protect my sanity and not burn out throughout multiple times during this year. When the year began, I just came out of paternity leave and I was starting a job full time. And let me tell you, it was a brutal couple of months getting into the rhythm of things. The demands of a 2-month-old and a hard job wasn't easy mentally on me. That, coupled with the fact that the pandemic was still going on, meant that we weren't going out at all. We had to protect our newborn. During this time, I had to enforce limits wherever I can just to protect my own personal time and energy. Not only to be more productive, but to reduce the stress overall in my life. It was definitely not easy because at my new job, I needed to prove myself. But as the months progressed, I was getting better and better at projecting and holding firm to my boundaries. This provided me crucial de-stress periods and extra time for rest. But even with these new boundaries, towards the middle of the year, they were starting to prove insufficient. I found myself run down and tired all the time because I just wasn't getting enough rest and relaxation. I had very few hours during the day to myself to just recuperate, and I struggled to unwind before starting the next day, and that stress just multiplied over time. So I learned that keeping firm boundaries are important, but they're not the only fix to this problem. It needs to actually be coupled with rest and relaxation and going back to self-care methods. Number 3, unrealistic travel goals. My wife and I traveled all the time domestically and internationally before our child. That came to a grinding halt when my wife got pregnant and we stopped traveling. This means that going forward, we have to be really strategic in where we bring our child. And that means extra planning and preparation before we go anywhere, even domestically. And overall, the trips are shorter because there's a lot of logistics to bring everything that the baby needs. So with that in mind, in 2023, we didn't travel at all by airplane. We took one trip locally and it was only for one night. It was a far cry from us traveling before the pandemic to places that we want to visit and have fun. And although I did have work trips, they weren't really fun for me to enjoy. This was for me a big letdown in 2023. Once the world opened back up from the pandemic, I wanted to travel and see the sights and really make up for the lost time of the last 3 years. I wanted to see at least 3 or 4 new places with the family in tow. And we even got our son's passport ready because we wanted to travel. Looking at the situation now, I don't think we're gonna travel with any sort of regularity in the next couple of years. We'll just have to take it slow until he's older and can sleep in a bed by himself. Because without it, we're gonna have to bring a crib and special safety precautions. Because ultimately, it will just make the logistics easier for us not to bring baby stuff. So in 2023, I didn't meet my travel goals and I don't know when we'll be able to recover from that. I just need to be patient overall and wait until he's older and ready to travel regularly. Number 4, friends on pause. This one came to me as a surprise because I thought I would spend more time with my friends this year. Despite everything opening up after the pandemic and more friends in close proximity to me, I still did not see as much of my friends as I thought I would. This is because all of my friends have small kids themselves and are impacted time-wise as well as I am. And overall, they're in their mid-30s, so they also have a lot of responsibilities outside of work and family. My initial goal was to see my friends once or twice a month and hang out, but that just wasn't the case. Even if they were free, I had to plan multiple weeks out in advance. And at the end of the day, cancellations were high as the date got closer due to random things. This was something I definitely didn't have to worry about prior to the pandemic. I would just call someone up and we would just go hang out. The responsibilities were low and nobody had kids. I think this impacted me more than travel because I did not expect that this would happen. Because in my mind, I thought we were gonna hang out more just because we all had kids and we're gonna have play dates. And in general, because of the proximity to each other, have more time to hang out. I think as our kids get bigger, this will be a lot easier to manage, since we wouldn't have to spend so much time taking care of our kids and our kids can be more autonomous. But ultimately, that remains to be seen because they might just get busy with something else in their lives. And this likely isn't going to change for 2024 because those same kids will still be young next year. So I still think seeing more of my friends in 2024 will be a stretch goal for me, but I will definitely try as much as I can. Because for my own sanity's sake, I need to have and engage with my friends more often. So here are my general thoughts of 2023 in review. I think I really had to adjust to life on the back end of the pandemic. My old way of life, circa 2019, just isn't coming back and never will. This means that I have to ultimately let go of the past and move on with my life to something different. Because I will never have the free time that I did back before the pandemic. And it's still really hard for me to believe and accept that is my way of life now. Because I had so many plans for 2020 and 2021 before we had our child, but it just never came to fruition. Lastly, I think I might throw all expectations of what I have for 2024 out the window right now. Every time I make a yearly goal video, I end up not meeting my expectations for the past year. I think it's primarily due to all the life changes that are going on through my life right now. And I think for next year, I have to focus on things that I can actually accomplish, very specific goals in mind. And crucially, things that won't take up a lot of time or effort to complete. Because just committing to a long-term goal isn't applicable for this time in my life. I need to focus on my family first and foremost and worry about my personal goals later. So that's my 2023 year in review. in a nutshell, 2023 for me has been a huge challenge in my personal growth and development. And I struggled with the challenges of being a parent and taking on a new job. But I also realized a newfound awareness and importance of self-care. Through this period of reflection, I have a stronger sense of purpose and determination for what I want my 2024 to be. My goals for next year will be primarily focused on family and self-care, and not on personal goals I want to achieve, so that I can give what's important in my life more focus. So thank you for watching. Please leave a comment down below on how your 2023 went and was it a good experience or not. And I'll see you next time.